Good evening. I'm Carly Lang. Thank you all so much for joining us for Local 33 News at 6. Well, when getting your vaccine shots, it's important to remember that one dose of the two-dose vaccines doesn't provide full immunity to the virus. NBC Local 33's Dion Guillory explains why it's possible to still get COVID and what it means moving forward.
The push is on to get the COVID-19 vaccine to as many people as possible. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines require two doses 21 to 28 days apart. Experts say there is still a chance you can contract the virus before getting your second shot.
One, they actually had COVID when they got the first vaccine. They just didn't know they had COVID. Or two, they got exposed to COVID after they got the first vaccine and their body hadn't produced that immunity yet.
Connie DeLeo, infection preventionist at Baton Rouge General, says if this happens to you, you need to stay in quarantine for 10 days if you don't have a severe illness.
We do recommend that people don't come out of quarantine to get that second vaccine, that they wait till that quarantine is over because they could spread COVID to other people.
DeLeo says that's when you need to get your second dose. Experts say it takes about 2 weeks after your second shot to develop full immunity.
Definitely make plans to get that second vaccine. And if you have questions, always ask your healthcare provider.
Dion Guillory, NBC Local 33 News.
Experts say you still need to wear your mask and practice social distancing in public even after you've been fully vaccinated. Well, at the end of the day, pharmacies across the capital city are finding extra doses of the COVID-19 vaccine left on their shelves. This results in a wasted dose. Vaccines can't be used the next day because they require proper storage. Officials at Ochsner Medical Center are finding alternatives to throwing out the vaccines.
Looking at the people that have signed up to get the vaccine, and if it looks like we're going to have extra doses, we call them in and we bring them in. Sometimes our team winds up having to stay an hour or so late because people that had late appointments wound up getting at Walgreens or someplace else and didn't cancel their appointment with us. So we have that list of people that we call in and our team brings them in.
Now, organizers believe some people are simply getting a different appointment that suits them better, and they're not canceling that original appointment, which of course results in a wasted vaccine. So if you do decide to not go, be sure to call and cancel the original appointment. And now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers in Louisiana. The Department of Health is reporting nearly 1,000 new cases out of more than 19,000 tests. That's a positivity rate of 5%. 22 more people have died due to COVID-19. Hospitalizations continue to slowly fall tonight, down to the lowest number since mid-March. Patients on ventilators are also down tonight. Well, courts that help Louisiana's addicts could soon receive help of their own. NBC Local 33's Harrison Golden explains how.
I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore.
Jennifer Holohan spent years in and out of courts and jails. So many years, she figured addiction was a life sentence.
I thought that's just who I was. That's how I was gonna be. I had no idea that my life was gonna take off the way it has.
She says life took off because of a drug court. Louisiana has 75 of these courts, each letting users avoid jail time.
So I just said, why not?
And get long-term treatment.
Drug court taught me how to love myself, taught me how to make mistakes and own my mistakes.
Instead of doing a few great things, we do a lot of nothings. Today that changes.
A bill now bound for the state legislature would give Louisiana's drug courts more money, so more people like Holohan can get their help.
This will be a positive way to impact the drug courts and how they operate and how to make them better.
I think it's best that we sit down, come together as one body, bipartisan, and figure out what is the best use of this money.
The money would come from settlements the state has won from opioid manufacturers amid the addiction crisis.
What we're trying to do is to get out of the dichotomy of being tough on crime versus soft on crime. We are trying to be smart on crime.
But first, the bill must pass the legislature, though its two top supporters remain confident.
I'm all for it.
And so does Holohan.
Everybody needs to know that there is help available, because if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Lawmakers will take up the bill and hundreds of others when they start their legislative session April 12th. Harrison Golden, NBC Local 33 News.
Drug court is only available to those willing to attend and those who have not committed a violent crime under Louisiana State Criminal Code. Well, the 2017 hazing death of Max Gruver sent shockwaves throughout LSU's campus, the state, and now it's even being felt in our nation's capital. Today, Senator Bill Cassidy announced he and Pennsylvania Democratic Senator Bob Casey filed the End All Hazing Act. Cassidy says if passed, the legislation would require colleges and universities to post hazing incidents to their websites.
This increases transparency and accountability in hazing nationwide. It was inspired by a tragic incident where a young man died in a fraternity hazing at LSU, and Senator Casey can point to the same sort of incident at Penn State.
Now, back in 2018, state lawmakers passed the Max Gruver Act, upgrading hazing from a misdemeanor to a felony. Now, punishment for those found guilty includes up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Well, this school year has been like no other, but East Baton Rouge school officials are still working to keep attendance up. EBR's School Welfare and Attendance Offices is working to ensure that every child is getting the education and the attention that they need despite the challenging circumstances of this pandemic. Now, this includes making sure students are showing up for class, regardless if it's in person or online.
Nationally, you can see this on the news that there have been some gaps during this pandemic time for remote learning. We are trying to keep the students engaged so that they are not falling behind academically.
We are also called in as well to try to serve as an intervention, find out if there's something that's hindering them from proper school attendance.
East Baton Rouge schools have resources available for students who may be struggling to access virtual or in-person learning. Well, still to come tonight, LSU football back on the practice field, looking to bounce back after their disappointing 2020 season. We'll hear from Coach O after day one of spring practice coming up in Go Nation. Plus, we continue our Remarkable Women series with an inspiring leader in Pointe Coupee Parish. We'll have her story of service and hope coming up next.